When I first set foot in Iceland, it felt less like arriving in a country and more like touching down on another planet. The ground breathed with steam, geysers shot into the sky, glaciers glowed like frozen rivers of light, and volcanoes stood silent on the horizon, reminders that the earth here is alive and restless. In winter, the nights seemed endless, broken only by green ribbons of Aurora rippling across the heavens. In summer, the sun refused to set, painting the land in golden light at 2 in the morning. This is Iceland, a land of extremes where fire and ice collide, where time stretches and bends, and where nature insists on being noticed. Welcome to Passports to the Past. We don't just visit countries, we try to understand them. Our goal is to give you history, culture, and practical wisdom, so that when you travel, you do it with awareness and confidence. This is travel that makes you smarter, safer, and more connected to the places you see. So let's begin with the basics. Iceland is not large, covering about 40,000 square miles, roughly the size of Kentucky. Its population is under 400,000 people, making it one of the least densely populated countries in Europe. Nearly 2/3 of Icelanders live in and around Reykjavik, the capital, while the rest are scattered across coastal towns and isolated farmsteads. Politically, it is a parliamentary republic. The president serves as head of state, while the prime minister leads government. On nearly every ranking of global safety, Iceland comes out near the top. Crime is rare, violent crime almost unheard of, and political stability is strong. When governments issue travel advisories for Iceland, they aren't warning about unrest or crime. They're warning about nature itself: sudden storms, avalanches, glacial floods, and volcanic eruptions. This is a place where you respect the land, because the land sets the rules. Before Iceland was a nation, it was wilderness. Born on the mid-Atlantic ridge, the island rose from the sea in explosions of lava and ash. Glaciers carved valleys, rivers cut through volcanic plains, and waterfalls thundered from cliffs. For centuries, it remained untouched. That changed in the late 9th century, when Norse explorers from Norway and Celtic thralls from the British Isles found their way here. They brought sheep, horses, and farming skills, building settlements along the coasts and in the fertile valleys. Life was difficult, but they endured. In 930, those settlers created something remarkable: the Alþingi, one of the world's oldest parliaments, at Þingvellir. Imagine hundreds of people gathering in a dramatic rift valley, laws recited by memory, disputes settled by debate, and a fragile but extraordinary system of self-rule taking shape at the edge of the known world. It wasn't democracy as we know it, but it was remarkable for its time. Life, though, was unforgiving. Winters were long and harsh. Volcanic eruptions blackened the skies. Families lived in turf houses, half buried in the ground to protect against storms. Out of this came storytelling. Storytelling wasn't entertainment, it was survival. From those long winters grew the Icelandic sagas, some of the greatest literature of the medieval world. These sagas told of voyages, feuds, and honor, and they remain a cornerstone of Icelandic identity. But independence didn't last. Iceland fell under Norwegian rule in the 13th century, and later under Denmark. For centuries, poverty deepened, trade was restricted, famines struck, and disasters like the eruption of Laki in 1783 devastated the land, killing thousands and spreading famine across Europe. Yet Icelanders held on to their language, their sagas, and their sense of self. In 1944, while Denmark was occupied during World War II, Iceland declared itself a republic. June 17th, Iceland's National Day, commemorates not only independence, but centuries of endurance. Culture here is steeped in imagination. The sagas written in the 13th and 14th centuries are not museum pieces. They are living texts. Because modern Icelandic is so close to Old Norse, Icelanders today can read them almost as they were written 1,000 years ago. Few places on Earth have preserved their linguistic threads so completely. The language itself is guarded with pride. Instead of borrowing foreign words, Icelanders invent new ones, keeping their tongue alive and uniquely theirs. Folklore is just as alive. Talk to locals, and you'll hear about the Huldufolk, the hidden people. Roads have even been rerouted to avoid disturbing supposed elf habitats. Whether believed literally or not, these stories are not dismissed with laughter. They reflect a respect for unseen forces and a humility before the natural world. Festivals connect past and present. Thorablot, held in midwinter, revives the foods of survival. Fermented shark, sheep's head, sour ram's testicles, eaten today with humor but also with pride. Jónsmessa, Midsummer Night, celebrates the longest day with bonfires and folklore. And June 17th fills Reykjavik with parades and flags, honoring independence. Creativity thrives here too. From Björk to Sigur Rós, from Nobel laureate Halldór Laxness to Reykjavik's bookstores and galleries, Iceland punches far above its weight culturally. Even street art has a poetic edge. Daily customs are simple but telling. Shoes come off at the door. Coffee is almost sacred, fueling long conversations that stretch into the night. Swimming pools, heated by geothermal energy, are central to community life. Sit in one, surrounded by steam and laughter, and you'll feel Iceland's social heartbeat. Modern Iceland is built on three pillars: fishing, renewable energy, and tourism. Fishing has sustained the economy for centuries and still matters deeply. Renewable energy defines the present and future. Almost 100% of electricity comes from geothermal and hydropower, making Iceland one of the cleanest energy producers in the world. Tourism, meanwhile, has boomed. The ring road circles the island, leading travelers past glaciers, volcanoes, waterfalls, and lava deserts. The Blue Lagoon has become an international icon, while the Aurora Borealis continues to draw millions. Reykjavik blends small-town charm with modern design, colorful corrugated houses beside sleek concert halls and buzzing cafes. But Iceland is not cheap. On our affordability index, it ranks at $5 out of $5. Budget travelers who stay in hostels, self-cater, and drive themselves can survive on $120 to $150 per day. Mid-range travelers, using hotels and restaurants, will average $200 to $300. Luxury travelers can easily spend over $400 per day with boutique hotels and private tours. There are ways to save. Shop in supermarkets, stay in guest houses, and remember that Iceland's greatest attractions, waterfalls, glaciers, and northern lights, cost nothing. The value here isn't in bargains, but in intensity. Travel here demands awareness. Iceland is one of the safest countries in the world in terms of crime, but nature is dangerous. Weather can shift in minutes. A calm day can become a storm that closes roads and grounds flights. Black sand beaches like Reynisfjara lure visitors too close to the surf, where sneaker waves can drag people into the sea. Every year, lives are lost because signs were ignored. Respect the warnings, check the weather daily, and dress in layers. Driving is rewarding but risky. Gravel roads, Highland F-roads, and sudden conditions require experience. Rental insurance often excludes gravel, wind, or ash damage. Read carefully. Wild camping is restricted. Use designated sites to protect fragile landscapes. Scams are rare, but prices themselves can feel like traps. A sandwich might cost as much as a meal elsewhere. Some tours sell access to free attractions at steep prices. The best defense is to research, budget, and embrace simple pleasures. Supermarket picnics, thermal pools, and evenings in Reykjavik cafes. Etiquette is simple. Remove shoes indoors, shower before entering pools, stay on marked paths, and treat folklore as heritage rather than superstition. For digital nomads, Iceland is both inspiring and challenging. Internet is fast, co-working spaces exist, and Reykjavik has a creative buzz. But costs are high, and long stays are difficult without deep pockets. Retirees and expats come less for affordability than for quality of life, safety, community, and landscapes that restore the spirit. Daily life here is slower, grounded in nature and community. Hikes, hot pools, festivals, and shared stories. What makes Iceland unforgettable is the clash of contrasts. In a single day, you might watch a geyser erupt, walk across a black sand desert, and stand under northern lights. Fire and ice, light and dark, myth and modernity. Everything here feels magnified. This is not just a country to see, it is a country to feel. I want to take a moment here for a personal reflection, because travel is not just about landscapes and monuments. It's about the people who give a place its spirit. In Iceland, that spirit is visible everywhere. There is a quiet dignity in the way Icelanders carry themselves, shaped by generations of living in harmony with a land that can be both generous and unforgiving. People here are open yet reserved, friendly without being overbearing, and their kindness comes across in subtle but meaningful ways. A smile, a willingness to help, a sense of calm that seems rooted in the stability of their society. As a man who has traveled widely, I can say honestly that Iceland is home to some of the most strikingly beautiful women I have ever encountered. Their beauty is not just physical, though it is undeniable, with features shaped by Nordic heritage, clear eyes, and an elegance that feels both strong and natural, but also in their character. There is a confidence in Icelandic women, a self-assurance born of equality and independence, that makes their beauty feel even more compelling. They are not only visually stunning, but also highly educated, creative, and deeply connected to their culture. To me, it's important to mention this, not as an objectification, but as recognition of how remarkable it is to meet women who embody both physical grace and intellectual strength. But it isn't only the women who stand out. The entire Icelandic population carries a kind of quiet charisma. Men and women alike display resilience, forged from centuries of survival in a land that demands cooperation and adaptability. There is a friendliness in daily encounters, a barista chatting over coffee, an elderly couple helping you find your way through Reykjavik, a group of teenagers laughing in a geothermal pool. These small moments reveal a culture that values connection, honesty, and trust. Part of what makes Icelanders unique is their balance of tradition and modernity. They embrace their sagas, folklore, and festivals, while also thriving in a global, modern society. They are among the most literate people in the world, with libraries in nearly every town, and their creativity spills into art, music, and literature. Conversations here are often thoughtful, and there is a refreshing lack of pretense. People are proud of their heritage, yet welcoming of outsiders who come with respect. Even in appearance, Icelanders reflect their environment, strong, healthy, and often outdoorsy. The population enjoys some of the longest life expectancies in the world, supported by clean air, pure water, and diets rich in fish and natural foods. There is a visible vitality in the people, a sense that they belong to this rugged but beautiful land. For the traveler, this means that meeting Icelanders is as much a highlight as seeing glaciers or geysers. The warmth of the people, the quiet strength of the culture, and yes, the remarkable beauty, especially of the women, all combine to make Iceland not only breathtaking to see, but deeply memorable to experience. As I leave Iceland, I carry more than photographs. I carry humility before the land, admiration for its endurance, and respect for its people. Here, you don't just read history, you walk through it. You don't just hear stories, you live inside them. And you don't just meet people, you share in a culture that has thrived against all odds. This is passports to the past. Travel smarter. We know where the bathrooms are,